Well, one of the things I discovered about 45 years ago is a thing called still point breathing, which many people that I've worked with around the world over the last 45 years have engaged in. And I recently began to go back and pull out some of the stuff that I was trained in medically 50 years ago and actually combine it with some of the things that I've been learning in the last year or two, put them together and moved into what I'm doing one-on-one personal intensives. It's a 3 to 6 day process of working one-on-one with people and moving beyond just still point breathing, using the breath to induce still point in the structure, and moving to quantum still point, which is making changes in people's physiology and their emotions and their thinking processes that I never conceived of as possible. And we did a session just when I was in Florida recently. And so just wondering, you had shared some of the changes, some of the things you've been working on, and some of the changes you've experienced from doing that
It's,
quantum still point process. Tell me about it.
I'm going to put it in relationship to forgiveness too. It's the biggest change besides the military backwards, and the biggest change on the positive that I've experienced in my life in a short period of time. So how I changed, first awakening at the end of the session was, I was totally aware of my body and from the inside out. I've been working with balancing the structure for, I don't know, 45, 50 years. But to keep your awareness, like I was working with a pelvic tilt due to overweight, and I'm constantly trying to be aware, talk, do exercises, do stretches, keep that corrected, and stay out of surgery, right? So like all of a sudden, I'm totally aware. It's like I'm an aware being. It's like I'm totally aware, and it's easy. The movement to roll the pelvis under and get it balanced was easy. And then the next thing I noticed was just clarity of vision, like the ability to be aware of everything on the psychological, emotional level, that to have less judgment. My judgments were reactive, just like me. It's like, I believed for a minute, 3 minutes, oh yeah, you did it to me, but less and less and less. Once I got that treatment, it's like, no, I see everybody without the least teeny tiny bit of judgment, including myself. So I can see very clearly into everyone all the time, including myself. And with that came a power, and I couldn't understand the word power. I looked it up. It has a nice definition. I don't like power over others. I like love. And I also felt that I had restricted my power, raw power, because I wanted to make sure that before I did certain things in life, I didn't put it into anything other than love. So I would say that now the non-judgment, the neutrality is that love, is that I see myself and everybody else with the clarity, and the power is love. And it's just
Non-judgment day. How cool is that?
and non-judgment day. So it's like everything's easier. Everything's at another level.
You mentioned your
Yeah.
pelvis and how long you've been working. I know, one of the things that Patrick does is he does a thing, he's a master at doing a thing called centerline balancing. And, I used to travel, 6 to 10 months of the year. And I remember I was in Florida and Patrick took me through first time I experienced your centerline balancing. And I had a presentation to do that night. And I got up to speak and it was the clearest, cleanest flow of information from your centerline, physiologically, from your centerline balancing that my mind had ever done in doing a presentation. The way my mind was able to organize and just it was flow.
Mm.
And so I know that you're very attuned to the alignment of the structure. And what was going on with your pelvis and for how long before we did that session just recently?
Well, the pelvis, I don't know about the emotional reasons of the lumbar compression, or you know, mine, I'm not sure about them, but I'd say you don't have a stable base. And I would say that the amount of unresolved emotions that led to the habit of overeating and gaining weight, that fighting gravity to have your pelvis not tilted forward by a large tummy is a lot of work. So constantly being aware of the musculature from the belly button to the pubic bone, or there's 10 or 20 different ways to do it, or imagining your tailbone moving forward, or imagining you're sitting on a chair that's not there, a stool, and you just elongate your lumbar and let it roll under. All the different techniques, all the lay down stretches, all the stuff, constant work, at least focusing. Oh, I forgot. Now I remember. Okay. 5 to 7 years ago, due to the destruction that I had created in my lower spine, I got an MRI, went to a neurologist, and he said, "You need surgery now." I said, "I want to do it. I want to balance my structure." He says, "That's controversial." And he and I kind of got into it a bit. And then he got mad and haughty. I said, "I want to talk to the surgeon before I get it. You know, I want to make sure, because they don't line the bones up before they do the surgery. And I want to line up. If I'm going to get surgery, I want to line up, because usually it's L5, S1. Then after that breaks down, they leave it crooked. You're going off this way and that way to counterbalance. And the next one breaks down because you're now stiff on the lower one that they just did. So they only do 3 vertebrae and these rods in your back, and you're stiff and you're fixated that way. You know, who needs that? So I wanted to beat the surgery. And that's, so I've been working on it.
Let me just be clear. So you became aware of this very dramatically about 7 years earlier.
7 years.
So what I'm
5
hearing you
years,
say is you've been working to get it to balance.
yeah, the
without
whole
surgery
structure, plus that's absolutely
for
the
7
primary
years.
point for the destruction, where he said, "That surgeon doesn't have time to talk to you. When you can't take the pain anymore, we'll rotor your spine." Well, I even remember being in New York City where my feet felt that they were this much bigger than my feet, and going to it, you know, walking in the street, my feet going numb, and then feeling like the physical feet weren't there, but they're these big giant things, and going with my son to they're like to a dance, and all these people wanted to dance, and all I could do is stand there and move my upper body. That was it. So the pain, there isn't any pain. I don't have any pain in my lumbar now. I do occasionally, when I move wrong, get a sciatic pain, and then I can sit down forward like this, curve my lumbar backwards, take the compression out of the rear, which is the same thing as taking the tilt out of the pelvis. Exactly. And then that goes away within a couple of minutes of sitting. So major difference.
Yeah.
Major.
So when we were doing the quantum still point process, do you remember the moment at which your mind let go?
During the process? Or? Yeah, immediately.
And
it's like within about
if you
30
if
seconds.
you think about that, and I haven't asked you this question since we did the session, it was just 10 days or so ago. If you think about that, can you tell if that was the moment at which that pelvic shift happened that you'd been working for 7 years?
No, it was cumulative over the treatments, and then I got ready for your final part, and then the final part was physiological from you, and that's all I can say. But that point, once I stood up at the very end, that's exactly when I became ultra aware, ultra knowing, and that pelvis just right into where I wanted it, no problem.
Nice.
And I don't know, I haven't had any, except for the sciatic occasionally when I get out of the car wrong or do something. I don't have any lumbar pain. I didn't even know that till now. I just realized.
Just thinking about it. Yeah, that's cool.
You were here a week ago, no lumbar pain. Thank you very much.
How about your relationships? Do you see any changes there? Emotional
yeah,
stuff?
Yeah, because of that perception, unless I've only been triggered once where she helped bring up my stuff when I was totally exhausted and totally, and then things kept going, and then I which triggered her. But otherwise, we are working together. We used to just get together on all the major projects to make agreements. we're working together on everything all the time now, and no contention, no problems. It's majorly different, majorly, and majorly smooth and easy. And there's no effort to it. You know, it's like effortless. That's my favorite thing, effortless.
I hear you on that one. That's awesome. Very cool. Well, any other thoughts about what that the impact was of that quantum still point?
All I can say is it's certainly worth doing, and it's a life-changing event when you're ready for it.
Yeah, there definitely has to be willingness and ready. To me, you know, with my background in electronics, I see this whole structure literally at the core of it is an antenna. And when you shift antennas, it's like going from a set of rabbit ears on your TV. Remember rabbit ears? to getting you know, 500 cable stations. That's the difference. It's literally shifting the core of the antenna, and the core of the antenna is structure, and the emotional trauma interferes with structure. And when the moment at which the mind lets go and the forgiveness happens, that is, the energy's removed. You know, Dr. John Sarno, if anybody wants to look at some of his work, he has the best definition of back pain that I've ever seen. And what he says is that back pain is unconscious rage. At the moment at which one opens and goes into that still point and is able to embrace that energy of rage with the presence of love is the moment where the mind lets go and the antenna shifts. And that's kind of my
explain
best understanding of it right now.
My perception of perceiving me in this different change that I've tried to explain different ways is that almost as if all this energetically perceives totally differently, as if I have a forgiveness filter on me already. I don't have the judgment. So I'm seeing everybody and everything, both incoming and outgoing, is at a whole new level of non-judgment, love, and non-stress, non-reactivity. You know, it's like, whoa.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's all
Very cool.
Thank you.
Well, this is delightful. Nice to have this space with you. I wish you weren't so far away, or I weren't so far away, being all the way up here in Virginia, being all the way down there in Florida, that we could spend a little more time together. The quantum still point is something that I wish I had somebody who could do it to me. And I'm hoping that as our conversations unfold with the knowledge and the parallel work we've done over the years, some of the different things that we've studied together and worked with, and one of the things that I see with the quantum still point that's made possible things I didn't think were possible previously, is that part of that process is people's hand are in the abyss, and that's part of that 3-day intensive. So it's it definitely, it all works together for moving forward. And I appreciate you being such a dear and committed friend for the last half a century, and know that you're very much appreciated. I appreciate the heroism of the time that you spent in Korea with the men that you worked with, and the care. I've had many processing sessions with you about the care and concern you had for those men and how you took care of them. It's pretty profound. So my deep appreciation for you on a personal level and that aspect as well.
Let's see if I can get my hands together.
Yeah, they're almost totally flat. Hey,
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. Blessings.
Blessings.